Hello and a warm welcome to Media Week. I'm your Williams and joining me is editor and publisher of Mediaweek, James Manning. And James, welcome to the show. It's been a huge couple of weeks for some of the key media plays with upfronts.
Yeah, look, the big TV, the commercial networks show off their wares to advertisers. Actually, SBS and ABC do it too, but they're not more about the audience than the advertisers. Although SBS depends on a fair bit of commercial revenue. Yeah, but we spoke about Nine. We had an interview with Hugh Marks. I think it was a fortnight ago. They had their upfront first. They got out first, and then just in the last 7 days, both Seven. They a little bit different, call theirs an all front, and then 10 had their upfront this week. We spoke to Tim Warner, we had him on the show last week. We might hear a little bit today, and we spoke to Paul Anderson at the 10 network this week. Well,
it's been close to, 12 months now since CBS took control of Network 10. The links with the parent company, very evident during the 10 upfronts, and 10 network chief executive Paul Anderson talked to James Manning at Your Money about some of the initiatives, including the new 10 All Access, the rebranding of its multi-channels, and 13 new series.
You think back, Bob Hawke was Prime Minister last time 10 changed its brand. So, I think it signals a new era for us. And what it does, it brings all our brands together and with, some consistency now. And we've got, 10 Peach and 10 Boss, which really frame what those channels are about, which is demographics and Peach being more of a feeling, it's escapist entertainment, and Boss is big, bold shows that have strong leading characters.
Tell us about that. So Boss used to be 1, Peach used to be 11. Is there any sort of new strategy attached with the rebrand?
Not really, I think. Look, Peach is 16 to 39-year-olds, so not actually too different from what 11 used to be. Boss has had somewhat of a transition from 1, so it primarily has, big shows like Madam Secretary, Judge Judy, Hawaii Five-0, and some sport as well.
Tell me, were you tempted to launch any new multi-channels? Because you sort of lag your competition now, which when they have more multi-channels, it boosts their overall share. So you sort of get beat up a little bit on that?
No, look, I think that might be the case, but I think the way we look at it is that, in some ways, depending on what you launch, you'll cannibalise yourself. We figure that if we're going to invest more money and effort and time into something, then we think that is on the digital front through 10 Play, 10 Daily, and soon to be our streaming service, All Access.
So tell me about it's been just over a year, or just on a year with CBS now. How different is it planning an upfront with CBS's involvement, and how into the detail do they get?
Look, it's not that different. It's I think we're just shy of 2 weeks off 1 year. So, they're broadcasters. They understand TV. They do exactly the same thing that we do back in May with their upfronts. So it's very different. They're involved because, they understand exactly what we're trying to achieve. And I think, we talk a little bit tonight about what our plan or our strategy is, which is, producing differentiated premium content, but producing it across a whole range of platforms, because that's the way that our audiences want to view the content on their own devices when they want. So we need to be far better at monetising that.
And they're pretty busy too. I mean, I guess the person you report to is that Armando got a promotion just today, I think, coincidentally, and it listed everything he does. So he's got a fair bit on his plate, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so that was announced this morning, which is fantastic for him. So, and I think speaks volumes for the the way that he's held within the CBS corporation, which have obviously had a number of changes. So to have him promoted and be basically controlling the licensing of all of their content domestically in the US as well as internationally is fantastic for him, but it's also fantastic for us.
Tell us a little bit about 10 All Access coming in December, and how's it going to differ from 10 Play?
Well, I guess 10 Play is going to be a long-form catch-up service, so if you want to watch on catch-up primarily for sort of 30 days and want to watch ads, then you can do it that way. If you want to binge on whole seasons of content, then you're going to be able to do that on All Access, in HD, with all of the download capabilities and so forth. So, it's a world-class platform that CBS have rolled out in the US and Canada. And, it completes our ecosystem. So we don't have a subscription model, and it's a way of us dragging some younger audiences into our platform and hopefully recycling them back through other parts of the business.
Will there be any free level at 10 All Access, or will it all be paid?
No, it'll all be paid. So, we will have our linear channels. We will have 10 Play, which is our long-form catch-up, 10 Daily, which is our short-form video, web-based, sport news and entertainment, and then All Access, which will be the subscription model.
Since you're split with MCN, you've taking your sales back in-house, and they officially hands over in early January, I think. What's it been like trying to rebuild the sales team?
Look, it's been quite exciting, if not quite a daunting task. I mean, it's a big job, but it's only 3 years ago that we were, we had the sales team in-house. I think the benefit we have is actually we're starting from fresh, so we've got a real opportunity to build a sales team that is, puts the needs of our clients and agencies first, and it's pretty rare that you actually get that opportunity. So it's been exciting, and we're pretty much ready to go.
I guess it's a significant investment too, because you've got to outlay that money first to build the team before they can go and bring it back in.
Yeah, look, it is, and it's also an investment in technology, so which is twofold. We are leveraging CBS's technology stack for our digital, and they have an amazing world-class system that they trade off in the US and in Australia under some different brands. So us to be able to leverage off that is really powerful.
Paul, as well as the returning shows, and there's quite a lot of them for 2019, you've got something like 13 new programs. How big an investment is that, and how much have CBS had to dip into the till?
Well, it is a big investment. I think it's unprecedented. So, we've changed our strategy. I guess, the change in cricket earlier in the year somewhat charted our course. So we've taken the decision to program the network for 50 weeks a year, so ignoring that traditional ratings period. So having that, broad entertainment content, still with a pretty strong sports offering, I might add, as a chance for us to actually just do something different. And we also get to leverage that content across a whole range of different platforms, so it's not just about, linear television anymore.
You've still got quite a lot of sporting content. I guess the big noise this year was your acquisition of the Melbourne Cup, which you'll have 12 months' time. Will you be at the Cup this year?
I think so, yeah. Look, we love the Melbourne Cup. It's, it's clearly it's not called the race that stops the nation for nothing. So we're really excited, and the fact that the VRC have entrusted, their carnival with us across those 4 days, and, our commitment to promote that carnival right across the whole 12 months of the year really fits with their strategy. So look, we're really thrilled that we've been able to acquire those rights, and we've begun that process of editorial to actually put that through our content right through 2019.
But is the Melbourne Cup a bit of a loss leader for you? Did you sort of maybe pay above what some people thought were the odds, so you'd have something really strong to sort of showcase the network?
No, I don't think. Look, we don't go into these things as a loss leader. We see this as it's clearly one of the most iconic sporting events in Australia. It draws a massive audience, not just on the Tuesday, but across those other days. And the fact that we can leverage that content right across our shows, right across the year, is something that is, we're hoping and we think will be really strong for us.
What's happening with the news? You've rebranded the news, of course. You're going to stick with that hour of news, 5 till 6 daily, and has CBS got any designs on maybe pushing a bit harder with the news brand?
Look, I think that's always, it's always the question we get externally and internally. Our news at 5 o'clock has been there for a long, long time. We're investing in our local news in each market. News content is a big part of 10 Daily as well. So that gives us the opportunity to increase the number of hours that we cover news across the day. And also, we cover it differently in the project as well. I think people forget that the project is news. It's the same news in the normal bulletins that all the networks have. It's just done with a different, it's done differently. Yeah.
Pilot week must have been a significant investment for you. I mean, making 10 shows can't have been cheap, but the return seems to have been pretty good. Did finding 4 keepers sort of justify that trouble?
Look, absolutely it did, and this is Beverly McGarvey's initiative, and there's been a lot written about it and spoken about it on television. So we're incredibly proud of what we've done. It's a massive undertaking developing all those shows across 1 week. So the fact that we've announced 4, we could probably announce more, but we'll definitely be doing, as you'll hear tonight, doing Pilot Week again next year, something we're really proud of.
And some of the other shows probably feel a bit tough because you ended up with 10 sort of reasonable products, didn't you?
We absolutely did, and you know, I think that's the beauty. And the feedback we had from the production community, you know, was especially encouraging. And you know, the more that we can test these, you know, new formats, and if you like, tender for the programming that we actually want and need, it's something that I think more of that should happen within the Australian market.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Media Week continues with James Manning. Welcome back to Media Week. Of course, James Manning, our co-host, editor and publisher of Media Week, and the man charged with monetising Seven's big cricket investment, Burnette, also spoke with James Manning at Your Money at the All Fronts. He explained how advertisers are lining up for the cricket and also for food channel opportunities.
We've taken 10 years of research, one of the biggest cooking shows in Australia, My Kitchen Rules. That gave us a fair bit to go off, but when you put that together with Better Homes and Gardens and a lot of the other cooking related shows that we do, what we were showing, I mean, we research ourselves a lot, go into market, what do people want, what does our brand stand for, what are the things that we over-index. Now we've got a lot of data points, like direct data to come in and say what people really want, and we saw very clearly, certainly at the start of this year, that people want more food. There's no more passionate category than food, so we have the food content. The opportunity came up to launch a channel and we just went for it. So all of the data points were there. Our advertisers love the idea of food and the integration of that. So that's it was a pretty easy decision in the end, and it's going to be launched through obviously the start of the cricket in December. We'll use the Melbourne Cup as a launch platform as well. So, you know, we've got a really, really big opportunity here. And we've been in market actually on the quiet for the last few days, and I can say that it's been somewhat of a feeding frenzy, to excuse the pun, on getting involved. And again, it's one of the things we just went to say, hey, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to announce it at the upfronts. We want a couple of people just to see it early. And it sort of surprised us the amount of people who wanted to get on board. So that's a really good early sign.
You're running a lower ad load to launch to try and build an audience before you sort of pummel them with the promotions and brand partnerships?
No, well actually we're going to stay with that ad load. We're going to greatly reduce the ad load, and there's a number of reasons for that. One, better consumer experience, but the other thing is that if you reduce the ad loads, reduce the clutter, get greater cut through for this channel in particular, and we're going to do a real call out to creatives and advertisers to actually run longer creative. We've got a channel of food. We know that the food lovers are there, very specific, reduced ad breaks. You can run a 60 or a 90-second creative and actually do it not as a television commercial, as a real message inside content. Content in context, there is no better than that. And advertising in context is better. Again, I mean, we've done a lot of research with our sporting sponsorships, and it comes up every time. If you have an ad in context around sport, it goes off the Richter in terms of recall. If you do the same with this food channel, 60, 90 seconds long form creative inside food about food, it's going to do an amazing thing for a brand. So in that regard, it's going to be a significant shift away from perhaps what people are thinking about differently, but we're not going to widen that ad load out anymore.
Partnership with Discovery, so a lot of their international content will be seen here. Sort of encore screenings, a lot of the content that's been on free-to-air. Will you have some original commissions eventually?
Yes, yeah, we're going to start with original commissions, not at launch, but certainly through the year. And again, that's going to be working with a lot of advertising partners. The conversations we're having now is about how can they weave their brands inside content that we'll shoot together. So the bespoke content creation for the channel is alive and well, so we'll be doing a lot of that. Plus, when you think about the people that we have on our network now, obviously it'd be no surprise to think that we'll be working with them as well on creating new content. But to get the amount of hours that we've just announced, not just for broadcast, but on 7+, that is going to be a huge, huge lift for BVOD. You know, with 200% growth on BVOD since last year. Now with this it's going to accelerate that even more through summer. We just announced the Tour Down Under coming through in January. That's another 25, 30 hours of live streaming and content through summer, along with the cricket. So this strategy is not just about the food channel, it's about bolstering our digital assets as well.
You started the year spending a lot of money on those cricket rights. You've started the process to get that revenue back, and it's been going pretty well, you said today.
Yes, it's, I've been in this game for 28 years and I've never seen an uptake as fast as what we saw with the cricket. We haven't put out any press releases or, sort of shouting to the rooftops about who they are. We don't do that. We just get on with it. But I thought today it'd be worthwhile just reminding people or talking to people about the fact that when the brands of that 20 of the biggest brands in Australia support our cricket proposition as fast as they did, to the level they did. That's not about boasting about how good or our salesmanship might be. It's about saying these brands saw what the cricket can do with the Big Bash and the tests on one network, and they voted with their feet. And that's it's a fantastic. Team's done an amazing job, but more than anything else, it just talks to the faith in the product that we're putting to market. Can you tell us if you beat your budget? Have you sort of got more than you thought you would, or is it just coming quicker? At this point, it's coming quicker. There's lots of opportunities still left. Okay. We had a limitation on our partner sponsors. We didn't expect to sell to that level. We did. That sets a fantastic base, but we always leave something left for those who want to come into the short term, because December's firing at the moment. It's a very, very strong month, big retail month, so we need to have opportunities left. So that will certainly get us to budget, but it's a very strong platform already. Kurt, 12 months ago you introduced addressable TV, you called it real addressable TV. Yep. You emphasised that again today, you've got real addressable TV, implying that maybe some of the other offerings in market aren't as good as yours? No, we're not implying that. We're implying that we are doing addressable television, and we've been doing that for since October 27 last year. And, we were pioneers in that space. In fact, we started with the tennis many years ago, and we continue to be pioneers in that space. And our point today was just that we have been doing it for a while. We're accelerating it very quickly. We are the leaders in the amount of live streaming that's done. And it's going to be a very important part of our schedule going forward next year, our innovation. But, I'd like to point out also that it's actually a big part of televisions going forward. Yes, we all talk about our various parts and where we are on that journey, but what's important is that television is seen to be in that space. It's part of the evolution of the consumer journey, the technology wars that are going on in the industry at the moment. So that's what's addressability about.
Okay, Kurt Burnette there speaking with James Manning. Big thank you to James Manning from Mediaweek for joining us today.
Thanks, Ingrid.